First of all, thank you for doing this.
Yes.
And congratulations. I was there last night. I think it
Thank
played very well. I wanted to make this just a bigger profile, not just specific to the movie. So if we can go back, just for the record, where were you born and raised, and what kind of a childhood did you have?
I was born in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and I was raised very strictly Pentecostal.
Really?
I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a very extreme denomination of Christianity, where I went to revivals, and there were visiting preachers from other churches that would come in and do the snake handling, and that's how I was raised. But my parents divorced when I was about 4 or 5, and then I stopped going to that church. But I was still in Tennessee, and I was raised very typically Southern. I had an older sister who was wild, but in such a smart way, because she got away with everything, and she still managed to get perfect grades through school and through college.
I just don't know how much honey you want. There's no honey.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then I moved to Florida when I was about 10.
And at that point even, was acting something that was on your mind, or?
I wanted to do it from the time I was literally a baby and talking. I told my mom that this is what I was going to do, and I think for her she was like, oh, okay, that's a cute dream, because we were from Tennessee and no one in my family was in the arts at all or in entertainment, and I think it was a very far-fetched scenario. But by the time we moved to Florida, we were close enough to Miami for me to pursue, to get into like catalog modeling and things like that, and started making connections, and then the dream became more of a reality. And I started auditioning and booking pilots and things when I was about 15. And then I dropped out of school. I didn't drop out of school. I went to correspondence school and I got my degree.
Okay.
I graduated, but very early.
And did you feel that the modeling in any way helped or prepared you for what you would be getting into with acting?
There are two different monsters completely. I mean, the only thing it got me used to is being handled by so many people at the same time. Because if you're claustrophobic or you have space issues, it's not the industry for you. Because you have, especially in film, when they call cut, everyone rushes in for touch-ups, and you've got makeup on your face, hair on the back of you, wardrobe is pulling at you. You're not getting any air, and it's like panic attack central. That's the only thing it prepared me for.
People say, I don't know where this originated, but that the most beautiful girl from every town ends up in Hollywood and then finds out that there's a lot of other beautiful girls out there. And I wonder, it's kind of like, it makes it seem like it's a lot, it may seem more attainable when you're removed from it, but when you get there, it can be intimidating. So I was curious what your experience was when you finally did kind of get out there and found...
I was never the beautiful girl in my school. I mean, I had braces and I dyed my hair orange. Like, I was never that girl. When I started modeling, obviously, they would fix me so that I would look right for photographs, but I was not the popular girl. I was always the loner, and I never had that thing where it was all about the shell. I was a funny kid, and I just was drawn to this industry for other reasons, not because I felt like I was attractive and should be on film. I mean, my film idol when I was a kid was Judy Garland, and she was not a beauty queen.
No, it's true. So when you did get out there, though, what were those early days and weeks and months like?
Especially when I was a teenager and young and first doing it, I had a lot of self-confidence. Not that I was cocky or thought I was special, but I just felt like I'm supposed to be here. And I was really resilient, and I was never hurt by someone saying no or me not getting a job. But I happened to start working right away on small things, or maybe pilots that didn't make it into shows, but I was working more than anyone else at my management's office or any of the other friends that I had made that lived at Oakwood Apartments. Like, I was working, so I felt like, hey, this is where I'm supposed to be. I never was down on myself. I never felt intimidated. I always felt like there's a reason I was there, and God was going to take me where I needed to be.
And at what point?
Sound like one of those weird religious things just now, but that's what it was like.
So at what point did that vision that it might actually work out start to fulfill itself? I mean, that it actually started. When did you feel that there was sort of a break, that it was coming together?
I don't think any of us knew how big Transformers was going to be. We had no idea. After that, the first one was released, and after that first press tour, there was this snowball where it went from 0 to 100. It felt like overnight.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no time to sort of sit and process it. It was just all of a sudden I was famous. It's not like all of a sudden I'd become an actress. I was just all of a sudden a celebrity.
How did you deal with that? Was it something you felt prepared for, or did it take an adjustment?
You can't ever. Are you watching the drive?
Yeah, that's right.
You can't ever prepare yourself for fame. It's a very strange thing, and I can't explain it to people, and it's not something you can understand until you experience it. So there was no preparing for anything.
But would you, just not to harp on that, but just to ask, I mean, was it something that was predominantly enjoyable or predominantly a burden to have to deal with?
I wouldn't call it a burden,
Mm-hmm.
but I just think it's really it's just bizarre.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So was there ever also, I guess the next step, obviously, now Transformers has become this hit, 1 and 2, and then there's life after Transformers.
Uh-huh.
And so was there ever any doubt or concern that it would be a smooth transition into other things after Transformers came to an end?
No, I mean, I think everyone's careers sort of go up and down,
Mm-hmm.
and not everybody makes a hit every single
Mm-hmm.
time unless you're Will Smith. He's got the Midas touch,
Right.
I guess. But I don't go into projects ever thinking, oh, this is going to be a huge
Mm-hmm.
movie. I just go in thinking, this is going to be an interesting experience. Hopefully it'll be a fun experience. And it's a chance to sort of just learn a lot and grow a lot.
With the projects that have happened since Transformers phase ended and before Friends with Kids, Passion Play, Jonah Hex, and any others that stand out in your mind. I'm just curious what does stand out in your mind in over the last, I guess, 4 years leading
Stand
up?
out in my mind in what
As
way?
positively or negatively, what's been sort of, if you had to summarize, because I guess it is sort of a new phase of your career.
I mean, I feel like every project I did, they're all very different.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the people I worked with, they're brilliant, amazing people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I took the project. And one of my favorite things is that I am one of the 10 or less people that Mickey Rourke loves. And that is Purple Heart, badge of honor,
Right.
and I carry that with me, and I think it's amazing. That's one of the coolest experiences ever. So there's not anything that's really bad. I mean, it's not my job to market movies or sell them, and it's not my job to get people in the theater. It's my job to do the best that I can and enjoy the process and make friends and bond with these amazing people.
And in terms of the process of acting itself, is it something that is still as fulfilling to you as it was when you were hoping to get into this? And is there sort of, along those lines, is there an approach or a technique that you could almost articulate? Some people say I'm a method actor and that means I do this. Like, how do you immerse yourself in the process of acting?
It depends on what we're doing. It depends on if a director allows you to even do that. It's circumstantial, and I would never call myself a method actor. No, not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but I haven't studied it, so I could never say that I was. There's no particular technique. Most of the time it's just about survival.
And you talk about whether directors will allow you to do certain things. Do you feel that, for whatever reason, some people come in with preconceived ideas or trying to keep you in a certain confined box? It sounds like that from what...
It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's not about how people handle me. It's just about how people handle their sets. Some people they really engage with the actors, or they really respect the acting process, and they want to help the actors, and then other people feel that actors are props. And in that situation, you do what they say, because you're there to make their movie. But it doesn't allow for, like, let's talk about how our characters feel in this situation. We just have to do it.
Has there been one experience where that stands out that was like the way that you, if it could always be like that?
Of course, but you know I'm not gonna say anything.
Not as a positive one even?
Well, Judd is really positive, not because, I mean, he respects his actors, but he shoots in a way where he rolls and you'll do what was written and then he'll just yell jokes at you. Not yell like he's angry, but like toss out jokes and go, now say this. Leslie, you say this. Megan, you say this. No, now Leslie, you say what Megan said. And like, you just do the scene like that. And I guess for some people that would be terrifying and you'd freeze, but I thought it was so fun and so amazing and everybody's so alive because you have no idea what you're going to be saying next, and he's behind the monitor laughing, and that's just the best to hear and see them behind the monitor laughing and loving what they're doing and everybody's happy. That's a positive example of someone who does it. There's not like a bunch of sitting down and explaining this and that and the other thing. It's improv. He improvs with all of his acting.
With Friends with Kids, I'm curious how it came about, but also how you reacted to being asked to play someone who, in a way, is sort of, for a lot of it...
Are you cracking my knuckles? I can't handle it.
Well, no, just, I mean, basically, she is kind of a sexual object to him for a lot of it. And, you know, you learn more about her, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but, I mean, I don't know if that's something that you like, or if you'd like to break away from that. I'm just curious how you regard sex symbol, you know.
I don't know. I don't really feel one way about it or the other. And I mean, I think in reality, there are a lot of guys when the initial attraction to a girl is mostly sexual. So I don't feel like that's an outrageous thing to portray in a movie. I think it's a legitimate point.
If things had not worked out the way they have, and you were not having to deal with the fame and the celebrity and stuff that you were talking about earlier, what do you think you would be doing right now? Where would you be? What would you be doing?
If I was lucky, and what I would want to be doing is I want to be an archaeologist.
Really?
And I want to still do that now. Obviously, I love it. My own person is laughing at me. I would love to go to, I have a cease researching Egyptology classes, by the way.
FYI, I'm laughing because I think it's so great because I know you love all this stuff.
And
by the way, I'm obsessed with archaeology. I want to go dig and find some treasure.
It's the best. I want to do it. I'm obsessed with ancient aliens. Oh, I Netflixed that show like crazy. I watched every episode 20 times. Brian hates it. He's gone crazy. But I would love to shadow. Obviously, I don't have time to spend 10 years in college really getting a degree. But I would love to shadow someone and go on digs. I think it's amazing. I think it holds the answers. I want to go.
I'm calling Discovery.
Yeah, that'd be.
Well, I wouldn't want to document it the first time because I want to go and really see the real stuff that they're not willing to show the rest of the world because they hide all the real stuff. They don't show us because humanity would panic. But so I want to see the real stuff first, and then we can document the rest.
Well, so there's that possibility of what could have happened. Now, in light of what has happened, what are your sort of greatest hopes for the future? Where are we going to see you in 2020, 2040? What would you like to be doing?
If we survive the end of the month.
That's right.
I don't know work-wise. I mean, it's impossible to think that far in the future. There's nothing specific I want to do. Like, I'm not that person that sits and goes, I want to do a Western. Or, you know what, I need to do a boxing movie. Or I want to do a revenge film. I don't know. I just want to work with great people to get to work with people like Judd, especially, who are nice people and who are also very talented people. But the first thought that comes to my mind is I want to have children, obviously.
You do? I don't think that's obvious. I was talking I mean, especially as this movie shows, a lot of people aren't. Right. So that is something that's...
No, I want biological children.
So that was very different from you, the character that you were playing.
Very different. I've always wanted kids. It's just about the timing being right. And I have a number in my mind of what amount of money I want in the bank so that I can protect that child's future and really protect it so that kid never struggles. And once I feel safe with that, then